change of our lives, change of ourselves is one of the most challenging aspects of the personal development journey and spiritual pathway. And yet, that is what lets us know that we are living. That is what lets us move forward. That is what we walk towards, because we can see the dysfunction and we want something different. And yet we have the challenge of letting go of the dysfunction that we know, that we're comfortable in, even though it's dysfunctional, and having to push past our fear to step into that unknown. So the discomfort of the dysfunction is far more preferable than the discomfort and the fear of the unknown. And this is massive, to be able to step forward within these dynamics. That's what we're going to unpack in this video: how to do that, what to be looking out for, how to nourish yourself so that you have the energy, you have the faith, you have the self-belief to be able to do that. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hi, and welcome back to Oak Door. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Claire Attio. For those that are returning subscribers, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your support is truly appreciated. So change, we all talk about change. We all, if you've started on the spiritual journey, if you're into personal development, then we all talk about change. But there are certain aspects of the change process that a lot of people, once they hit it, that's where they stop, and they kind of try and skirt around it, or they go sideways rather than forwards. And it is difficult, it is scary, fear does come up, and especially the older you get, because the older you get, the more responsibilities you normally have of life. Maybe you have a family that you need to support. Or in my case, maybe you should be coming up to retirement and you're actually finding out that you're starting out on life again. And I'm not going to lie, I did. When that happened to me back in 21, I for all intents and purposes, I had 8 weeks of thinking, I've made it, my life, this is where I want to be, and this is where we're going to be moving forward, and this is how and what we're going to be able to do and take and create. And then the rug was pulled out from under me, and I sat there, I licked my wounds for a little while, and then I spent an even bigger while sitting there going, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And Spirit was talking to me the whole time. And I was going, yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but, because what Spirit was telling me really took me into a lot of unhealed territory, because Spirit wanted me to come back to the UK. And with the programs that I was running then, it felt very much like a backward step rather than forward movement. It wasn't, of course it wasn't, but that's what it felt like, because that's where I was mentally. There were lots of things that helped me through, faith being one of them, my connection to divine, and even though trusting, I did argue. And I think we need to embrace the process. There is no point. So many people, and people like myself that sit here and make videos, they will, oh yes, you need to embrace the process and trust yourself and listen to the divine. Well, yeah, we can listen, but do we like what we're hearing? And we have to sit with that process and honor the fact that what we're hearing we don't like, and why don't we like it, and digging into that and giving ourselves the time and the space to dig into that. There is no time scale. There is no follow step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because that would mean it's linear, and our existence isn't linear. Time isn't linear. And so it's almost like a yo-yo effect, although it's not a yo-yo, it's spiraling outwards. So we are expanding. So when we start, we've got like the little spiral going round and round and round and round and round. And the points on that look linear, but they're not linear. It looks like it's coming round again. And this is what we talk when we talk about cycles. It's not the same cycle coming round. It's another cycle of the spiral as the spiral moves outwards and it hits that point. It is challenging, and it takes a lot of faith in yourself. And the way to build that faith in yourself is to give yourself self-love. And it's interesting because when I was doing this video, there were 2 books that kind of spoke to me. It's like, I've got some shelves on my staircase, like little Inuks with books on, and I haven't read this one for years, but The Power of Now came out, and the first page I opened that to, and it is literally, it's on the monologue, I'm sure. Let me find it. Where are you? There. Yeah. Oh, acknowledgements. It's on acknowledgements. So you can see how far we're into the book. Not that far at all. And it says, the greatest guru of all, life. But if we don't allow ourselves to live it, if we stay in the boxes that we created that keep us safe, then we don't get to discover the guru within us, within each of us. And within that, if we don't discover the guru within us, we don't discover our purpose, our mission, our fulfillment, whatever label you want to give it, we do not discover that true soul, sovereign self of which to express ourselves in this world, because we're not giving ourselves the expansion. As I said, the rug was pulled out from under my feet. I understand now it's because being in that situation, being in that relationship, my wings had already been clipped. My expansion had already been compressed and contained. And the dynamics of that relationship were codependent. And within that codependency, I was dampening down my self-expression to ensure that the person that I was with didn't feel their lack of confidence, that they weren't taking ownership of that time. And yes, I know it wasn't mine to take, it wasn't my problem to take on board, but let's be honest, who has been in a relationship and never done that? It's only through having these types of relationships that teach us actually, no, that's not the right thing. We're not being true to ourselves, and we're not allowing them the space so that they can do the healing themselves that is actually needed, so that they can become the guru of their own life. The other book that came out were the top 10 things that people want to tell you. And this was a book that I, when I started my journey, and I just kind of read it from cover to cover in a day, and I was like, wow, I devoured it, absolutely devoured it. But there was one thing in here, and it's interesting because I haven't picked it up since I've read it, basically. But when I picked it up this morning, preparing for this video, the first page I opened was this one, and understanding that one's worthiness need not be earned, learning that hearing or saying no is neither a denial of love nor inappropriately selfish, realizing that it's no one's job nor responsibility to save or redeem another, considering that there's no such thing as a one and only soulmate, discovering that self-love needs to come before loving others, finding that being happy and living in peace does not require sadness and violence. When I read that this morning, I'm going to be honest, as I said, I read it when I first started my journey. So that was 2013, 2012, 2013, maybe even 2014 when I read this. No, I think it was 13. I haven't read that since. And then I read those key points in there. And I was like, wow. Two things went on there. One, it's been a reflection of my life. Two, without realizing, it's everything that I guide people through today. Giving them the space and the place and the guidance so that they can step into their true selves, to be happy, to be able to say no, to have the confidence to speak up and speak their truths, to have the confidence to make those changes so that they can expand. As I said, my life crumbled 3 years ago because it needed to. It didn't feel like it needed to at the time. In my mind, everything was planned and prepared, and I was going to have a cushy life until the day I died, in a loving relationship. But that wasn't what was meant to be, because within that, in that cushy, that comfortableness, I would have been stifling my own growth. There wasn't the space for the expansion needed for me. When we speak with divine, and divine always speaks with us, we don't always want to listen. That is where we come unstuck. And it's that learning to listen, but also honoring the space, honoring the place that you're at. So if you listen and you don't like what you hear, honor the fact you don't like to hear it. Give yourself the time. Do the work, the healing that is needed until you're ready to move. As I said, for I think it was about 12 months that there was a push pull between myself and spirit, because spirit wanted me to come back to the UK and I didn't want to come back. It felt like a backward step. That was coming from ego. I didn't want to give up. I've never been a quitter. And I had to make peace with that. I had to tame that aspect of my ego, to understand that sometimes we have to step back to be able to see the bigger picture, so that we can take aligned steps forward. And as I say that, up here, I'm chuckling to myself, because how many times have I been and done a video, or anybody who's worked with me, how many times have I said in a lecture, when we've been working one-to-one, it's you got to take a breath, step back. It's applying these principles in every aspect of our lives and giving ourselves the space, the freedom to go, okay, this is how I am reacting, responding, and be honest about it. Sometimes we still react. We want to get ourselves into a place where we respond with every given situation. But until we're completely healed, that is not going to be our reality. What we want is we want to be looking for kind of, I always go for 80%. If we're able to respond 80% of the time, and when we do react, we react, but then we pull it back straight away, then we're on a winner. Healing doesn't stop. As I said, it goes in a spiral. And so for all intents and purposes, it's my opinion that that healing continues to go in a spiral because we just keep taking it to deeper levels, deeper levels, deeper levels, deeper levels. We keep unearthing different aspects of ourselves. We work through this physical life, and then we start on past lives, and then we start on ancestral work. And it's, again, that is not linear. That is not the process. You can be doing a little bit of your life and be taken to a past life and move to ancestral life, or you can be doing something of ancestral life and it triggers a knowing, an indication of something that needs working on in this life, which then when you start working on that, you have a past life experience comes through that needs working on. We're moving backwards and forwards all the time. But within that backwards and forwards, sideways, we're still spiraling out. We're still expanding. And in that expansion, we are moving forward. Faith is a big one. And faith, we need that self-love. I'm not going to pretend that the self-love is easy. For some people, they may just be able to do a few sessions here, a few sessions there, and done and dusted. They've embraced it. They're walking in it. For me, it took a long time. There was a lot there to unpack and to reprogram and to release. There was a lot of work that I had to do. So doing affirmations, which are very positive and were well worth doing, wasn't enough for me. There was a lot of other work that I had to do. And for a lot of people to say, oh, you need to love yourself, you need to bring in the self-love. And for a lot of people, they have to start to like themselves, first of all. I mean, I took years with the self-love and I already liked myself. So if you've got somebody that don't like themselves, they have to get themselves into a space of liking themselves before they're able to then start embracing and bringing in that self-love. The self-love helps us with the faith. And once we can attain a little bit of self-love, even if it's only in one sector of our life, I recommend you grab hold of the faith that's in that, because it's the faith that gets you through the fears. When you can rely on your faith, it helps you to embrace the fears, to ride the wave of those fears and to move through them rather than deny them, bury them, project them. Grab hold of that faith. And whatever that faith looks at, is it faith in the divine? Is it faith in a religious institution? Be careful there, that aligns with who you are. Is it faith in God? Is it faith in science? I'm not here to tell you what to believe in. Only you can choose that. You become your own guru of your life. It's your experience. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. What do you want? What resonates with you? For you to enjoy, embrace, and expand in that physical experience. So in doing so, you expand your soul self. We're all at different levels. We're all here to do different things. We're all here to learn different things. And we're all here to share different things. We don't want a million Barbies and Kens, which is what society has us thinking. And let's be honest, in the last few years, spirituality has also started to do in many, many ways. It's different aspects of spirituality have become trendy, and you're a nobody if you haven't done it, or if you don't do it that way, or if you don't use this terminology. It's no, that is not what spirituality is. Spirituality is about taking inwards, discovering who you are, discovering your uniqueness, owning your uniqueness, having the confidence to speak your uniqueness, to live your uniqueness, and to share that and add that to the collective. It's not about teaching. I'm not going to sit here and go, you need to do it. I share. And any good spiritual guru, guider, teacher, for want of a better word, but we're not teaching, we're not telling you what to do. We're guiding you from the experiences we have had. And your responsibility to just pick out what's resonated and what hasn't, what feels right with you, and to work with your spiritual team and listen to the divine, the guidance from divine. How does that fit in? Okay, that is what divine wants me to do. That resonates with me. I don't have any fear around that. I'm going to go and do that. How do I do that? That's where we come in. People like these videos, people like myself that speak about our experiences. And I'm one of a million out there. Trust that the divine will guide you to who you need at that time. It's like having a library of books. If you needed to know how to make a cake, you wouldn't go looking in an engineering book. And it's the same with spirituality. If there is something specific that divine wants you to learn about, to teach about, to learn about, to experience, to expand your knowledge on, and then express yourself in that way, then you pick and you choose what is resonant with you. I'm thinking, as I'm talking here, because I'm trying to think of an analogy in spirit, it's like, oh, your shamanism, because when shamanism first came onto my radar, I was very much embroiled in energy, the scientific aspects, quantum physics, quantum mechanics of energy and how energy worked, and the healing modalities that I was actually using, I could back up with science because it was out there, and I was able to explain that. And then spirit started sending me down the shamanic route, and I was like, well, how do I explain that? How can I put that into a scientific terms that is tangible, so that I can actually explain it? Because that was the box I'd put myself in, and spirit was saying, right, out of that box now, let's expand. And I had to go with it. And shamanism to me at the time, because of my lack of knowledge, was very much Native American. And so when I was being guided, because that was what was put in front of me, to look at Celtic shamanism and go and study with a Celtic shaman, I was very resistant to begin with. I was like, because it hadn't been on my radar. It was shamanism was Native American, and yet with knowledge, with hindsight, with learning, I understand now that shamanism is just the indigenous way of connecting for every culture, not just Native American. Aboriginals are shamanisms. We've got Celtic shamanism and the whole Druidism thing going on, which is also a form of shamanism. And you've got the Hindu version, and when you look across the globe, it's there. It's the understanding, the ancient understanding from indigenous cultures of the connection between ourselves, the planet, the cosmos, and all other sentient beings. And learning how to read the signs, the symbology of that and the dynamics that are happening. Spirit will put what is needed for you, what is part of your pathway in front of you. It's your job to build up the self-love, the self-confidence, the self-worth, the self-value, and grab hold of your faith so that you can step through the aspects that are fearful, the changes that will be and are required of you, so that you can fully expand your existence as a physical being having a spiritual as I'll get that right. I was like, that's not right. I just love it. Thankfully, Mercury retrograde's finished tomorrow. As a spiritual being having a physical reality, you're selling yourself short. It would have been so much easier for me to ignore the red flags 3 years ago and to lick my wounds from that incident in private and just carry on. I'd done it before, so why could have done it again? But I'd actually stepped into a different energy by the time it happened again. And I had faith. I didn't know where it was taking me, and it was terrifying me, but I had it. And for all intents and purposes, even though it's been challenging and it's been difficult and there's been a lot to work through in the last 2 years, it's been the best decision I made. I've been able to expand and I have grown. And where that growth is taking me, I haven't got a clue. I'm going to be honest, but it's getting used to and not worrying about that anymore. It's having that faith. There have been so many situations in these last 2 years where I've had to call upon that faith because there has been nothing else. And I'm still here, and I'm still healthy, and I'm still happy, and I'm still moving forward. Don't allow this to constrict you and create paradigms and illusions that serve to get you stuck, that serve to stop you becoming the guru of your life. Embrace the changes, embrace the emotions that come up from facing those changes. Give yourself the place and the space to work through those emotions, but keep moving through them. Acknowledge them, take ownership of them, but grab hold of that faith. I can't tell you how many times in the last 2 years I've gone, I'm trusting you. I am trusting you. And I've closed my eyes and I've gone to sleep thinking, okay. And then something, maybe not that day when I wake up, maybe not the next day, but something has come along that has shown me, yes, I am right to trust. That is available to each and every one of you, each and every one of us, because we're all in this together. Change is scary, especially as you get older. I mean, from a 3D perspective, it was crazy for me to start life all over again, especially because I've moved countries, which means I've now not got a pension in the UK nor Spain. And I'm not that far away from pension years. So yeah, 3D can make it scary. 3D can serve to keep us fixed and stuck. That's why it took me so long to battle and be in that place, in that space, honoring what I was feeling, because there were a lot of big things I was feeling and needed to work through. But ultimately, I didn't have the answers. Ultimately, I had to grab hold of that faith. Ultimately, I followed what I was being divinely guided to do. And each of you will, during your life, have many times where you will need to do the same. And you have to honor what is right for you. Please just take the time for yourself and say, okay, do I have enough love in myself to do what I know is right, even though I don't know what that right is? But I know I'm supposed to be over there rather than here in this dysfunction, but I haven't got a clue what's over there, but I know that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to take my love, I'm going to grab my faith, and I'm going to go there. That's the challenge we're facing. That's the challenge we all face. Winners of life are not made from sitting in dysfunctional comfortability. So next time you see somebody that you admire, that you think, oh, wow, how did they move themselves through that? No, that they didn't get to that position without moving through some very tumultuous situations, emotions, and mental-ish. It's a process, but it's a challenge. And you're being challenged to make a choice. So I hope that's helped. If you've not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, then press that like button, and I shall see you on the next one. You take care. Bye-bye.